Well, hello there and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name is Ellie and we have chilled out chats about anything and everything. And today is, I'd like to say a chilled out chat, but it's about something terrible that happened to me. And I mainly want to talk about this today in the hopes that it helps someone going through something similar, just to let them know that you can come out on the other side and it's not the worst thing in the world. So let's just get into it and share how I lost my hearing. So when I say that I lost my hearing, what I actually mean is that my left ear, I currently now have, well, last time I checked, which was years ago, 60% hearing. My right ear has around 95 to 100% hearing, so completely normal. But what is normal? Hey? Yeah, so I lost hearing in my left ear at a very young age, and I'm just gonna start at the very beginning. I am the youngest of 3 girls, and my older 2 sisters, when they would take baths or be bathed by my mum, they would use just one of those chairs that you put babies in to help them just sit in the bath so that you can wash them. So when it came round to bathing me as the youngest child, I was born in 1995, and at this particular time there was a whole new rage for these floating beds that you could put babies in to bathe them. And apparently, so my mum said when I saw them at Christmas, because of this new product, there were many babies the same age as me that also suffered because of this. So my mum would bathe me in this floating bed thing, and what would happen is that I would sort of turn my head, as you do as a baby because you move a lot. I would turn my head and my left ear would go into the water, and loads of the bubbly bath water would just go into my ear. I'm not sure why it didn't happen to my right ear, maybe I just went that way more often. But as a result, basically, I started getting ear infections at a very, very young age. So young that I can't actually remember having the first ones. But apparently I used to scream and cry, and mum didn't really know what was going on. So she took me to the doctor, and they checked everything out and noticed that I had an ear infection. So they, I'm guessing, tried to treat that when I was younger. This would happen very frequently, so much so that these doctor's appointments turned into ear, nose and throat appointments at the hospital. So I would go to these quite regularly, maybe every few months. By this time I was like 7 years old. So I put some headphones on, they would play noises, and they would test to see how my hearing is in each ear. I'm not sure whether I had my first operation before this, but I'm guessing this was before the first operation, because then they would have noticed that there is a need to operate on it. Then I had my first operation as a very, very young child, and the operation itself was only about 30 minutes long, and its sole purpose was to insert a grommet, which was a very small ring-shaped object, and that was meant to be placed inside my ear canal, and it was meant to open up again my eardrum so that I can hear again. Obviously it failed because I still can't hear from that ear very well, and after 2 operations of this failing, one of which I think my mum found a grommet on my pillow, or in my bed, which is just gross. I then had a 3rd operation which was intended to do the same thing, and throughout all this time I'm going to the ENT appointments and they're seeing no improvements. So my last operation was on the 6th of December 2006, and I always remember that date as like my last operation. I have no idea when the other ones were, but I always remember this date, and I've made myself remember that. After this 3rd operation, again, it didn't work, and I specifically remember just being in the car, in the back of the car, and holding up a pillow or some kind of blankie to my ear, because I don't necessarily think it hurt that much, but it was more I wanted to keep something over it as a reason as to why I couldn't hear properly. And I specifically remember my hearing was worse after this operation than when I went in. So that's not good. But I just remember holding it up to my ear, and I didn't want to ever let something come away from my ear, because then I'd have to admit that it's more deaf, and it's horrible. I don't know if anybody's ever had that feeling where you like been swimming or something and you temporarily lose hearing, but it's an awful feeling, and it makes you feel so unbalanced, and like you just don't want to be awake, you just want to be asleep. It just feels horrible. So yeah, after this, the doctors didn't really know what to tell me. They just said that I would have to be okay with the fact that I have limited hearing in this ear, and that it may or may not get worse as my life goes on. So luckily to this stage, I haven't lost any more hearing, unless I have and I just haven't noticed because it's so slight. But yeah, I basically have half hearing in my left ear, full hearing in my right, and life's good. I would continue to have ear infections throughout my childhood, and I learnt that I have to wear an earplug every time I go swimming, because that can definitely start it back up and give me an infection. So that really put a downer on my childhood in a way. Anytime that I'd be around water, I can't just go and jump into the sea or jump into a pool. I have to quickly get my earplug, make sure it's clean, put it in, and make sure that it's like fully lodged in, because sometimes like I use the swimming ones, and if you put them in your ear and they're not fully in, water can just get straight in, and it can actually block the water from coming back out, which is even worse. But as I grew into a teenager, these were very few and far in between, and it got to the point where it had been many years since I had an ear infection, until 2023. Sorry, I just kicked the camera because I'm an idiot. So 2023, I had my first ear infection in a while, and it's actually amazing how much of the trauma and the pain that you block from your brain. It's kind of like childbirth, I guess. A lot of women experience that. There's like a hormone that goes through your body, and it makes you forget the pain that you've been through so that you can have more children. But I knew that it was bad as a child, but I didn't remember how bad. So at Christmas time in 2023, I started experiencing symptoms of like itching in my ear, and I'd noticed that when I was showering, quite a lot of water was going into my ear each time I showered. So that would be building up, and because it was staying in there, what happens is the bacteria will grow, and that will cause more and more itching. So I just remember sitting at this desk working and just not being able to stop itching my ear, and it was just never ending. And me and Sam went to a friend's house for Christmas drinks, and I remember later in that evening experiencing a bit of pain, itching, and it just felt so wrong. And I think my hearing was slightly going down as well. And I noticed that as I sat back on the sofa and laid on the sofa, my hearing became like it's underwater almost. So Christmas Day came and went. I don't believe anything dramatic happened that day, but when it came to Boxing Day, I could not go to Sam's mum's house, and I just said something is truly up. Something's going on. So that night we were in bed, and I lay back, and my hearing in this ear just completely went, and I started crying, and Sam was just asking me if I'm okay, like what's going on, and I told him what was happening, and straight away he drove us to A&E, and it was empty in there. Like that was a really good thing. It was so empty in there being Boxing Day. I was seen after like 5 minutes, and as soon as the nurse looked at my ear, she was like, yeah, you need some ear spray. I can't remember what it's like, antibiotic spray or something. So she prescribed me with that, and I started using it, and that was like 3 or 4 times a day that I'd have to use that, and it was horrendous because every time I would put the spray in my ear, it would block it all over again, and then I'd feel like I have even less hearing. And obviously because it's spray, it makes you feel like you've gone underwater. So I would have to spray that in my ear, lay on this side to let all the spray go into my ear canal, and oh, the feeling, I don't know if you'll ever experience this if you've used eardrops or ear spray, but the feeling of it trickling down your ear canal and it tickling, and you're literally laying there like, oh, it's horrible. So I had to do that multiple times a day for, I think it was like a week or over a week, and eventually it got better, and it got to the point where I'd spray it in my ear, it would go blocked for like 30 seconds and then it would just open up again because the fluid was coming out. And when I tell you, once I was waiting for the liquid to go in, and it had been about 10 minutes or so, and I sat up, the fluid that came out, oh my gosh, and the wax, just everything lovely oozing out of my ear, but it showed that it was helping and it was getting better. I think the worst part of it was, one, the pain, but I think more just the loss of hearing when I laid down. I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it's the same with other people with this same condition or a similar condition, but when you lay down, it's like some kind of tube just closes in my ear, and my hearing just completely drops. It just goes, and that is one of the worst parts of it. So much so that I was trying to sleep, not successfully, sat up to try and avoid that from happening because I definitely couldn't sleep laid down. And when I would lay on my left side, there was so much stuff in there that if I laid on this side, the outer, I don't know what this is called, but the outer part of the skin here, it would sort of like move slightly as the pillow touches it, which is normal, but as it moved, it would completely block the ear again. And you could just hear like a, so it's like plugged. I'm really sorry if this is TMI, but I'm just trying to give my true, honest experience in the hopes of helping someone. So after this, I realised that I had to do something about my ear health and ear protection. So I'll get onto that in just a second. But I just want to make a point as well that when I get colds, I sometimes get an ear infection along with it. Not very often. I think it's only happened once so far. And I don't know about my childhood because I can't remember that well. But it's like the cold, because obviously it's all connected, your nose, mouth, ears. If something gets blocked, like you would have with a cold, it will also block this ear, the tube. So that is just fantastic. When you're already suffering and you just want to be in bed all day, you've also got that to deal with. So yeah. So as I just said, I realised that I had to do something to protect my ear health a bit more. Now every time I have a shower and I wash my hair, I make sure that I have an earplug in my ear, so a swimming earplug to make sure the water doesn't get in. I don't have to do this when I'm not washing my hair because my head's not going under, and I don't like to do this every single time I shower because I don't want to damage my ear by using them every single day. It does kind of annoy me slightly because if I wanted to do a workout, 5 days a week or something, which I do try, it does mean that if my hair gets sweaty, I have to wash my hair, so I have to wear one, and it's just the added expense of buying earplugs in general. So that's what I do, and obviously when I go swimming, absolutely wear an earplug. I did go to the beach last summer and I didn't take any earplugs with me, but I did get in, and I was very, very careful about staying above the water and not going in too deep where waves are a bit more raunchy, shall we say. Another thing I do is I avoid running when it's raining. When I do go running, it has to be dry. It has to be either cloudy or sunny. I can't have any rain going into my ear, even if I'm wearing earbuds, because there is always that slight chance of the water going in. And speaking of earbuds as well, I cannot have them too loud because I don't want to damage my hearing in this ear either. So it's made me quite aware that I need to protect both of my ears, and in protecting this one, I'm also doing this one a favour. That is my experience of having multiple ear infections and multiple operations to try and rectify the problem. I really hope this helps someone, and obviously if you clicked on this, you may be going through the same kind of thing, or you have already been through this kind of experience and you can see the parallels. But yeah, I really hope this helped you and educated you, and if you don't suffer from any of this and never have, I just hope that it helps you to feel encouraged to look after your ear health, because it is a very, very precious thing to have. I feel very privileged to even be able to hear at all. So please do look after your ear health and your whole body. I really try to look at the positives in life, and I think not only has this taught me to look after myself a bit more, but it's also taught me that there are many worse things to suffer from in life, and it just so happens that this was the one that I was dealt with. This was the card that I was dealt with, and it is probably one of the better ones. So yeah, as always, if you found this video informative, if you enjoyed it in any way, please do give it a big like. And if you'd like to see more from me, then please do subscribe for more videos. But until next time, guys, take care.